Haven't heard it? People in Shanghai are queuing up overnight to apply for a passport. Every family is preparing to go abroad. The Exit and Entry Administration Bureau in Shanghai is almost overwhelmed. Almost all the rich people in Shanghai are gone. It's crazy. According to the data, one after another, 10,000 people from Shanghai have immigrated abroad with 68 billion. However, the technologically advanced US and the slow-paced Canada are not the first choices of these people. Instead, some European countries have become their final destination. As China's economy is in a downturn, many middle-class people are in debt due to buying houses and facing a wave of unemployment, and their lives are in trouble. Shanghai residents are facing the same situation, and housing prices have also fallen sharply. With the deterioration of China's political and economic environment and the containment of the CCP by Western democratic societies, a large number of wealthy Chinese have emigrated to other countries in recent years, taking with them hundreds of billions of dollars in funds. Let's talk about related topics today. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and allows us to bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. Unable to bear the fierce internal competition, people from Beijing and Shanghai have collectively emigrated, with more than 600,000 people leaving. Unable to tolerate the internal competition and development bottlenecks, people in Beijing and Shanghai are collectively applying for immigration. Recently, European embassies and consulates disclose visa processing data. In recent years, more than 600,000 people from Beijing and Shanghai have chosen to immigrate, most of whom are middle-class families. Surprisingly, the most popular country is Spain, in Europe. Why do people like Spain so much? First, the fierce domestic competition is serious, and the dual circulation economy is still developing. Some people are under too much pressure and want to change how they live for themselves and their children and start over. Another group of people chose the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Malta, mainly considering the issue of their children's education. With permanent residency status, you can attend local public schools, which alone can save hundreds of thousands in tuition fees. Children who graduate from these countries can also go to the G5 in the UK and the Ivy League in the US, or return to China to take the Overseas Chinese Students Entrance Examination and get into the top 30 universities with a score of 400. Of course, there are also some people who want to travel freely or for business reasons and do not want to waste time applying for visas again and again. According to data from the Immigration Bureau of Japan, as of June 2023, 760,000 Chinese have moved to Japan, many of whom were from Shanghai. Why do Shanghainese like Japan so much? A friend of mine from Shanghai who lives in Osaka told me the reason. On the one hand, houses in Japan have permanent ownership and no common areas shared with neighbors, and there are few restrictions on foreigners buying houses. On the other hand, it only costs $35,000 to register a company in Japan, and you can get a business management visa and enjoy the same welfare benefits as local people. Children can go to school for free, and adults can have 70% of their medical expenses reimbursed. You can retain your original nationality and enjoy Japan's welfare at the same time. It's really killing two birds with one stone. Would you make the same choice if it were you? Did you know there was a wave of people going abroad in Shanghai? Even the government did not expect that so many people from Shanghai would go abroad last year. According to data from the Immigration Department, more than 100,000 people went through the procedures for going abroad in just over a month. And a very abnormal phenomenon occurred. 60% of people did not go to the US or Singapore, but chose to go to Turkey. I have to say, those Shanghainese have a very sharp vision. The cost-effectiveness of Turkish identity is really too high. As long as you buy a house in Turkey, your entire family of 4 generations can obtain European citizenship. Among the immigration waves, what attracts the most attention are the Chinese billionaires and high-net-worth individuals. According to the latest report from British investment immigration consulting firm Henley Partners, in 2024, an estimated 15,000 wealthy people in China with investable assets of 1 million transferred their assets and moved to other countries. This figure is an increase of 1,400 people from 2023, setting a record high. China has been the country with the largest loss of millionaires for the 3rd consecutive year. When millionaires leave, they often take their wealth with them. According to previous statistics from Henley Partners, on average, each wealthy person will take away about 6.6 million in wealth when immigrating overseas. In 2022 and 2023, China's wealthy people took away about 160 billion of wealth from China to other countries. Shanghai people are rushing to Japan to buy houses. According to relevant reports from Japan, Japanese houses have almost been bought up by the Chinese, with Shanghainese being the first to bear the brunt. According to statistics, 70% of foreigners who buy houses in Osaka are Chinese, of whom 30% are from Shanghai. Why are so many Shanghai people going to Japan to buy houses this year? My friend in Shanghai told me that most people come to Japan for two reasons. First of all, the rental return rate of Japanese houses is very high. Especially in the two big cities of Tokyo and Osaka, the annual rental return rate can reach 6%, which is honestly higher than depositing it in a bank. Although Japan is not an immigration country, there are no restrictions on foreign residents purchasing real estate in Japan. As long as you have a passport, you can buy a house. Secondly, housing prices in Japan are very cheap compared to China. In Tokyo, the price is 5,600 per square meter, while in Osaka, it's only 2,800 per square meter. Not only that, Japan's housing market has permanent property rights and no shared areas with neighbors. After buying a house, even the foundation underneath is yours. In addition, those who live in Japan for a long time enjoy the same welfare benefits as local Japanese people, and medical care for the elderly and children is free. Moreover, it's very close to mainland China, and you can go back and forth in a few hours, so there is basically no time difference. If it were you, would you come to Japan to buy a property?
基本没有时差。如果是你，你会来日本买房吗？
In recent years, the middle class who once felt secure have changed their minds and want to escape from this red country. China's real estate entered a period of sharp decline after August 2020, which is one of the main reasons for the current economic difficulties. The middle class are the ones who suffer the most. The plummeting Chinese property market plunged them into despair. What is the value of the condo I bought in Shanghai for $320,000 now? When I went shopping today, I saw a condo with the same floor plan in our neighborhood was listed for $240,000. I instantly felt chilly. We spent $170,000 on the down payment and did some finishing. We have been paying off the loan for more than 3 years, and it feels like we have only been paying interest to the bank, and the principal is pitifully small. When we bought the condo, the real estate market was booming and house prices were rising steadily. At that time, I felt that I had made the exact right decision and was looking forward to the appreciation of housing prices. However, no one expected that everything would change completely after the epidemic. The real estate market plummeted, and now we have lost about $80,000. Sometimes I wonder if I had bought or rented a condo 2 years later, I wouldn't have lost so much. But the reality is, there is no if, and life must go on. My God, the value of a couple's condo in Shanghai dropped directly from 2 million to 1.4 million. After selling it, they dropped directly from the rich class to the middle class. It only took them 3 years to fall back into the middle class. Mr. Young's recent complaint made me realize that even if you're a wealthy person in Shanghai, you may fall into the middle class if you're not careful, and your net worth may decrease and you may slide down the social ladder. Mr. Young is 43 years old this year. He is from a rural area in northern Jiangsu. He originally worked in a grade A hospital in Shanghai. Later, he divorced because he was not rated high enough in the unit's evaluation, and his ex-wife, a nurse, despised him for not owning a property. He resigned from his job and started his own business. In the fall of 2016, he opened a clinic in Shanghai. It has gradually expanded, and now he has hired nurses and assistants. He also has advanced testing equipment and has accumulated a certain number of clients. He can be considered to have achieved some success in his career. The blogger said that Mr. Young's clinic has been developing very well, expanding from a dozen square meter small clinic to a small dental and plastic surgery hospital of more than 100 square meters, and it's also well known locally. Mr. Young's income also increased, with monthly earnings ranging from $14,000 to $35,000. In 2021, he chose this 148 square meter condo in a Bay City community of Costco in Shanghai. The unit price was as high as $13,000 per square meter, and the total price reached $2 million. At that time, he borrowed $1 million, and his monthly mortgage was $5,800. Recently, due to the bad environment, his hospital has been in recession, and its income has declined. The heavy mortgage burden was suffocating him, and he had to consider selling the condo. The condo was eventually sold for 1.4 million, causing a loss of 600,000. The blogger lamented that a wealthy person in Shanghai returned to being a middle-class person in just a few years. Attention those who have idle houses. You don't have much time left. Although house prices have dropped a lot, if you sell them now compared with the next 5 years, now may already be a high price period. In another 5 years, houses in cities below the third tier will basically be everywhere, and you won't be able to sell them even if you want to. Don't fantasize that housing prices will rise. It's good enough if they can remain stable. If you want to sell your house, do it quickly. If you want to buy one, wait a little longer. If you don't buy it this year and wait until next year, you may be able to save $20,000.
今年不买，明年说不定能省下10几万。
在上海300万的房子，
What is the value of a condo worth 400,000 in Shanghai dropped to now? My husband and I bought this condo in 2019. At that time, we had been drifting in Shanghai for 9 years and had a savings of 140,000. Once people had some money, they started to grow restless. At that time, our friends were looking at properties and we had the idea of buying a home. At that time, the real estate market in Shanghai was extremely good and new condos had to be purchased through a lottery. We viewed several condos and finally chose this 110 square meter condo with 3 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, and 2 bathrooms located in Fengxiang District, Shanghai. The environment here is good. There are 2 households per floor. The floor plan is square and very comfortable to live in. At that time, we kept some money for business operations and planned to use the remaining 140,000 for the down payment. I borrowed a little more from my parents, my sister and my sister-in-law and pooled together 70,000 for a down payment of 210,000. The mortgage was 180,000 for 30 years. Based on the interest rate at the time, we had to pay $830 in mortgage payments every month. By the time we moved in, we had spent almost 440,000. We are the undisputed good-natured men to take over a property at high prices. We, the generation born in the 80s and 90s, are the fattest Chinese chives in the real estate market.
我们80、90这批人是最肥的房产韭菜。
The blogger said that some time ago, a buyer came to their community to look at a listed condo. It was the same apartment type, also an area of 110 square meters, and was located just above theirs. The asking price was 360,000, which was then bargained down to 330,000. Based on the housing prices at the time, they had lost $70,000. Today, I met one who is probably the most miserable landlord in Shanghai I have ever seen this year. She just sold her condo. After signing the contract, I said I couldn't bear to accept the commission. However, the elder sister smiled and said I was finally relieved and could sleep well. Can you believe it? A condo worth 1 million lost 300,000 in less than 3 years. This is a small condo of 56 meters in Meiyuan 2nd Street. Although it's an old apartment unit, friends in Shanghai should know that it's close to Lujai's Way and is in 2 school districts, so the price has always been high. This lady bought it in the second half of 2022, just when the Shanghai epidemic was lifted. She recalled the situation when she bought the condo, saying there were 3 buyers competing for it. Because the unit price of this community dropped from 30,000 per square meter to 18,000 at the time, everyone felt it was very cost-effective. The elder sister said she had offered an extra $7,000 more than others' offerings. Unexpectedly, just a few years after she bought the condo, we all saw that the national real estate market had entered a downward trend, with prices continuing to hit new lows. The elder sister said she has been under much pressure in the past 2 years.
大姐说这2年压力非常大。
That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.